Well, hello everybody. Welcome to Sonictalk, episode 786. I can't think of a number that kind of has any technological reference in there, so we might have to wait for 800, where we could do Poly 800, but not long now. Another 14 episodes. Anyway, this is the Music Technology Podcast. We talk about all things to do with music tech. Primarily, it's going to be synthesizers, drum machines, software, production, DAWs, live streaming, live production, all of that kind of stuff. Many things. I want to say a couple of things I just need to bring to your attention before I thank Wagyu, who may well be in the chat, and all you YouTubers and everything. Wagyu, thanks very much for doing the moderation, as you do for many of us streamers, but also for the other behind-the-scenes work that you do. Much appreciated. Nice to see familiar faces there. Wagyu, Red Walks, Pendle Stephen, Rapscallion, gosh, a whole bunch of people. Nick Howes, thanks for joining us again. The second show of the new year. As we're heading into NAMM, obviously, doing a lot of prep for that. That's coming up at the end of the month. But before we get there, I just should probably say what we got coming up. Oh, yes, 10 days left to enter the competition for the OSMOSE competition, which is bit.ly/Sonic OSMOSE 23. If you want to enter that, there's still obviously, well, there's room. You can still do it, and we thoroughly recommend. We're giving away an OSMOSE thanks to Expressive E. In fact, there's the form if you want to see what it looks like. I'm just quite pleased with the graphic I did for it. So if you want to enter, do that. Win big, win OSMOSE. Why ever not? And also want to say, also a big thank you to our Patreon supporters. And in fact, if you're thinking of joining us, why not check out this short message? Hey, why not kick off the new year by supporting us on Patreon? We got a couple of tiers to go for. $3 will get you a very big thank you from us, but also you get access to all our ad-free content that we post up to YouTube. Anything that's monetized there, you'll see ad-free on Patreon, which is a pretty good deal, to be honest. Then if you go up to the next level, you'll also get more exclusive video, patch downloads, a bunch of other things. Actually, I think there was a printable stickers issue. Let's see. There was, I think the last thing we posted was additional extended Game Changer audio motor synth. There was also a bunch of other things as well. Also, if you do that before the end of the show, you'll get your name in lights in the credits. That's done all automatically. Anyway, thank you very much for considering supporting us. And if you already do and have been over the last year, your support is very much appreciated. Thank you. Back to the show. Yes, and while I'm also mentioning it, now this is the new improved control surface with the button tops being fixed. I did a post on Patreon just before Christmas trying to figure out how I could kind of make them a bit more durable because they're printed on stickers, but the ink, the inkjet ink just wears off on the buttons, and so someone suggested I should actually give them credit, but I can't remember what the name is now because I've improvised this bit. I've put lacquer, I sprayed lacquer on them, on the stickers, and now so the ink is sort of sealed in, so hopefully that'll last a bit longer. Anyway, that's all the good stuff out the way, all the kind of admin. Let's say hello to our guests. We'll start over there in London with Yoad Nevo Sound, where I'm pretty sure those guitars, are they the same guitars in the same position as last week, or have you been swinging them around in major action?
So every time I pick up two guitars from the live room where they all live on the wall, and then they can adjust to the temperature because it's quite cold in there, and then I can pick them because I'm sometimes too lazy to just go and pick up another guitar and wait for it to adjust to the temperature and tune it and retune it. So basically the guitars I pick for the week or for the few days that they stay here kind of dictate the sound that my production will have. So that's it's a bit random, but that's how it is.
Right, I'm just going to have to make a note of that because that is temperature regulated production. That I don't know if it'll fit in the show title, but I'm gonna put that as a candidate. That's got to be one of the earliest ever show temperature regulated production. Yes, okay. I'm just going to write that down.
And I have to say, like a lot of things which are random and kind of, born from limitations, I think that it kind of adds to creativity in a way, because I have like this guitar for that and this guitar for that and the Firebird and this and all that, but sometimes when you play the wrong guitar for the part or the wrong part for the guitar, something amazing comes out, and which is unexpected, and you have to either struggle with the shape of the neck or the sound of the pickups or this or that, and it kind of makes you work harder. And I don't know, I'm just trying to put words into it, but I don't really know what it is. I just know that it's basically out of laziness comes innovation. Yeah, exactly.
Which is sort of the opposite message we tend to give to the people we try and educate.
One artist that I worked with that we worked together for a very long time, and she kind of figured me out a little bit. She said to me once, "I don't know if you're a genius or just lazy." So, and I think that, not sure about the genius part, but lazy I definitely am, but that's what leads to what I do. I try, sometimes I work like 10 times harder to program something. You like that as well, to script something, and that's what led me to develop plugins and stuff, because I spend hours cutting time on workflow and things like that, which actually takes me much longer to do, but it actually stems from laziness. You know what I mean? So I work a lot harder because I'm lazy.
That's a really interesting idea. I mean, I've been doing much the same this week. It's like all these little things that will kind of, so I've or hopefully make the edit and the upload and the filming process easier at NAMM. But I wonder in the amount of hours I've actually spent making it happen, how much time it actually saved. I suppose the thing is, though, when you're jet lagged and you've done a 10-hour day already, any time saving is going to make you feel better at the end of it. Anyway, thank you for that insight, Yoad. I much appreciate it. And that's 2 potential show titles in your first statement, which is astonishing. And also we have Mr. Gaz Williams. Gaz Williams here in his studio in Bristol, where he mans the controls of his ever-expanding modular system, making, also fielding a record label, all kinds of stuff going on. And I know you've got the Super 6 there. In fact, one of the questions that came last week is that now you've got the Super 6, are you gassing after the Gemini because you've got the 6, or are you happy with the 6?
Yeah, no, I don't know that there's enough space on that desktop for the Gemini, so I'm using that as an excuse to stop me gassing over it. But I think a video just came out a couple of days ago from UDO where I'm getting my hands on the Super Gemini for the first time, and it is an astonishingly wonderful synthesizer in every way, and it's kind of it did get me thinking as well about like in the pre-show, you're talking about the Roland Phantom.
The Phantom, yeah.
Which are really very capable, very, very capable machines. And, but the Super Gemini, it's so, in such a different direction, isn't it? I mean, I mean, I'm sure everybody's familiar with the Super Gemini now. It's essentially 2 Super 6s or 2 Super 5s, really. But there's so much control and so much possibility on that. I feel that for a lot of people, that's just the right thing, the right amount of complexity for a deep dive. You can go, you can go a long way with that thing. But just the feel of that poly aftertouch and the little ribbon strip, both of which I guess give it, sort of CS80 comparisons in that kind of controlling sense, as opposed to sound sense. But I think it just manages to get everything just right. The fader throws are shorter. They're the same length as they are on the desktop version. So when you come back to the Super 6 after playing on the Gemini, you kind of, I don't know, the longer throws. Would you call it fader throw on a synthesizer, or am I saying?
Yeah, I think you could.
pay to travel. So by necessity, I think they've had to sort of make them a little smaller. They had to make them a bit smaller to make the desktop unit practical and sensible.
Okay.
With the 2 layers on the Gemini, it just brings the panel to quite a manageable size. But sat behind that, and you just kind of think this is probably all the synth you'd ever need, really. I mean, that's a kind of crazy.
It's interesting. I think you're absolutely right, and I think the Phantom is, like you say, it's a very different beast. I mean, if I was making, I've said this earlier in the pre-show, if I was making if I was putting together a live show and I needed lots of keys, splits, layers, multiple outputs, sample triggers, little bits of sequence, effects processing, all that stuff, that would be it would do all of that, and it's really capable. I mean, amazing amount of capability, and it's a swanky. It feels like a bit of quality, but it's not the same thing as an instrument like Super 6. Obviously, which is more inspiring.
Like a jamming instrument, and being able in the moment to shape your sound in meaningful ways. If you've got those abstraction layers or pages of menus to negotiate. It's just a different headspace, isn't it? Yeah, but
it's weird also because you've got Ace now on the Phantom. You've got sorry, this is not the same thing. Oh, I seem to be coming back. Okay, it's very it's weird because you've got an ACB model of, like, say, an SH101. You've got a Zencore model with the Zencore, and with 2 completely different interfaces. So it's like you can use a Zencore model, or you can use an ACB model, which only works on, you only can run one of those because there's not enough DSP. So it's sort of a bit weird that you can have the same synthesizer but using 2 different sound generation methods. I mean, in many ways it's sort of more like a synthesis platform where you've got, you just use whatever DSP that you want. And the thing about the ACB one, you've got a much more UI friendly UI, which looks a bit more like the synth, whereas you're going into Zencore, and it's certainly editing it on the screen of the Phantom is just, it's that list of TVF, T1, it's just like, oh wow. It's not a lot.
Are the ACB models in the cloud now then, or are they just hardware based?
I'm not sure about that.
I was wondering that as well.
I'm not sure. It's got, but you make a point. It's getting kind of complicated. That's the problem. So I don't honestly know, because you've got the ACB, you've got the Zencore, you've got the what's the other AB something or other else, which is the newer boutiques. You've got there are lots of there are all these different sort of flavors of the same thing, which are just really difficult to differentiate. Anyway,
yeah. In my experience of ACB, in only ACB things that I've tried, and I think I was on the show last week, I was talking about, I've got the little Roland TR6S, which has got the ACB models in there. There's a definite roundness to them. I don't know how else to describe it. I felt with all of them as very pleasing, a very, very nice musical quality.
The detail on the resonance of the filters, the drive, the audio rate mod, all of those things will be of higher definition and higher quality. In fact, Starsky Carr did a great AB between the ACB version and the Zencore version of the same synth on the Phantom, and you could hear, the difference. It's just trying to set that up, and it's really funky because also this is getting off topic, but I suppose it's synth technology, so it's not. There's also in the Zencore engine on the Phantom, you can assign hardware controls to certain parameters. That doesn't seem to work on the ACB models, so you can't then automate those things in the sequence. There's lots of sort of little, but if it's this, then that doesn't happen, and so it's just not. It's a bit rough around the edges at times, even though it's massively capable, which is fine if you're programming a massive sort of complicated live set and you just basically need it for repeatability. But if you're in the flow and trying to edit, it's a different. It's not as pleasing as an experience, I would say. Jim
Hayward saying that the ACB models are in the cloud now as well. It got me thinking. Okay. You see. So if you use kind of clever computer analysis stuff, I don't know, like your activity monitor, and then ran them ran the Zencore version and then ran the ACB version, you could actually see on your statistics exactly what kind of DSP difference there is. I'd be quite interested about that because, one of the things that Roland were sort of going on about by limiting the boutiques to 4 voices was how processor intensive the ACB models are. But with them now being in the cloud, you can kind of bust them a little bit and actually see what the truth is.
Yeah, I suppose so. That's true. Yeah, I mean, no, fair enough. I suppose, actually, well, look, hey, before we get onto some topics, I'm just going to be crass and do an ad. Why the hell not? This sales season, take a look at the iZotope Creative Mix Bundle. With Vocal Synth, Stutter Edit 2, Neoverb, and Neutron 4 elements, your mix will never sound so good. Let your sound palette shine with these mixing and creative effects. The Creative Mix Bundle is yours for $49, saving an astonishing $497. So head over to iZotope.com and save big. Indeed you can, and don't forget, use the code SONIC10 at checkout over at iZotope if you want to save 10% on many of their software products. Once again, we thank them very much for their continued support. Right, should we do a topic? I mean, I guess it makes sense that we should. Oh, my buttons, I can see everything in front of me, it's perfect. So let's start. Well, this is interesting because this was one of the biggest Kickstarters of last year. Let's see what's going on.
See, look, it's late again. It keeps doing this. The LEDs disappear. What? Oh my!
This is Ricky Tinez having to disentangle some of the stuff on the new Chompi, which is fascinating.
All right, I'm going to show you why Chompi is worth it and not worth it. So first, listen to this.
But anyway, I don't want to steal his thunder. Do check that out. He's done a kind of pretty good appraisal of it. It looks like there's a lot of fun with this. I mean, it raised over $1 million, this Chompi instrument on Kickstarter. People are all over it. People are starting to get the shit. I think we posted a news item a few weeks ago saying that the people were starting to get them. And now they are getting them. Ricky Tinez has had a look at it and Heimbach's had a look at it, but it looks like there is a few anomalies in the UI and that sort of thing, and it's a bit disappointing, even though the physical hardware looks good. And to be fair, Ricky says, one of the things that's really cool about it is the way that you can do all of this kind of loop building and sound on sound stuff. It's a very, you can do things on it that you can't do anywhere else. Still, it's $600. Going to be able to buy it soon. But I just wonder, I mean, it must be a nightmare, because you're doing all of this stuff, you're sending it out, and then suddenly maybe the use cases that you hadn't noticed are picked apart by your first set of reviewers and you feel a bit glum. I mean, you must have been around this cycle many, many times, probably not to this degree, because obviously maybe your first couple of releases perhaps had some of this, but I doubt if anything ever goes out with bugs. But it's a nightmare. It must be a nightmare. I do feel for them, but I'm hoping it's not going to blow it for them.
So when we started with the Waves products, forums and reviews and YouTube were non-existent. So we basically, paved the way for the plugin industry. So whatever we released, although we worked really, really hard to make it the best it can be, there weren't that many users who can comment or be disappointed or whatever, or happy, and that was pretty much what there was at the time. So it was different, a very different time. But obviously you want to make it as and it's different with a company like Waves, with many users, many beta testers, many people who get exposed to the products before they're released, and it's going through a lot of cycles of QA. And I was involved in the development and design and all that, but there are other stages. Once we finish the product definition and we're happy with the UX and all that, then it goes to other processes of quality assurance and testing and things like that. So you try to get it the best you can. And with a new company, like the Chompi product, I'm not sure what they called. It's a totally different story. With regards to this product, I have to say that it's very attractive. One thing, I think I've heard that it's mono. Am I right saying that?
I am not clear about that. I'm not sure.
Which will be very, very disappointing if it is, and if not, then not. Then it's great. I have to say, again, like most things in life, Logic can do all that. So, you can do very speed. You can record in very speed. You can record faster, slower. The nice thing is that all the instruments will also shift. So you can very speed the audio, and all your instruments, all your samplers and VIs will, pitch down or up accordingly. And even if you do it in whole steps, so you can either do it in percentage or in, semitones or cents and stuff.
Okay.
If you do it in semitones, it will even change the MIDI, the external MIDI that it sends to hardware synths. So you have a lot of freedom in doing stuff, in using very speed, pretty much like tape, which is great, which is really good. But obviously it's more complicated. It's a more professional process, because if you loop something, or if you layer, or if you do sound on sounds, you always have access to all the layers, so you can use stems and things like that. With something like the Chompi, it's kind of rough and ready. It because it's hardware, it's kind of hands-on, and you get a lot of creativity, and you get things a lot quicker. But if you then want to go back and change something on a layer or something like that, then obviously you can't. So for me, if I were to use something like that in a production, which is what I do, then it would basically, I would, by using my method of working, I will kind of kill the vibe of the whole thing and the intention of the whole thing. Because if I'll get a layer in, I will then go and record it to make sure that I have it separately in case I want to use.
I see what you mean.
And then do the overdub. So, it is very attractive, and maybe it's something that I should get over. That's why I don't use loopers and things like that, because I want to have the control over, although with some of the more modern loopers, you can separate the stems and things like that while maintaining the creativity process. But it looks quite funky and cool. Expensive though. Yeah. £600. Dollars or whatever.
It looks like a nice bit of hardware, though, doesn't it? I mean, I can't remember if you were on the show when we covered it. We also went, "Oh, that's nice, isn't it?" And it's got a little handle, and the people seem lovely. It's just, but it's a nightmare, isn't it? Those kind of, I mean, the amount of work that has to go in getting software right, so every use case somebody doesn't go, "Oh, this is weird." And unfortunately, Ricky found a few of those things, and I think Heimbach some limitations. You sort of want it, and I suppose the thing is one would hope with $1 million in the bank, they can hire a coder who can sort it out pretty quickly. That's what you'd hope.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see. I mean, what I was thinking about, and it's quite a bit cheaper than this, is the Sonicware, the sample track, which I think came out maybe about 18 months ago now, which is form factor completely different, but is portable, has built-in microphones, built-in speaker, is a sort of little sampler with immediate effects, but is way more complex. And I was kind of thinking about how these two products, the way they are, much like actually the Gemini and the Phantom, but like very, very different sort of products that kind of get you into a similar place. But with the Chompi, there's too many limitations, and I was thinking that something somewhere in the middle between the sample track and the Chompi would probably be the one. Something that's got the immediacy of the SK1, that is clearly an influence on the Chompi, but lets you go a little bit deeper, which made me think actually that we talked about it on the show a couple of months ago, the Kiviak, the Wofi is probably that, so people who are looking at the Chompi and sort of kind of go, I like that in principle, all of those ideas. These sound like kind of anime characters, don't they? Chompi, Wofi. They're sort of, in some parallel universe. They're the seven dwarves, but we've only got two of the names so far. And that was on Kickstarter too, but was nowhere near as didn't make.
It did pretty well though. I think it did pretty good, didn't it?
It did all right, but I mean, probably about a tenth of what the Chompi did. So it goes to show that sort of appeal of the Chompi, that aesthetic appeal, is kind of almost more powerful than what it actually is. I mean, when the OP1 first launched, the look of that was just incredible. Everyone was clamoring to touch it, weren't they? And I suppose comparatively, although there was nothing really like the OP1, but compared to like a laptop,
it's like it's a cheap OP1, but I mean, I say cheap, a reduced cost, but it's the physicality, the physical interface that's really kind of attractive. It's all built on the Daisy platform apparently as well.
Yeah, I much prefer this form factor on the Teenage Engineering products. I have to say, all in all, they're too fiddly, and this one, the keys kind of resemble PC keyboard form, and they seem very clickable and inviting.
Yeah,
actually, I just ordered myself. I fell victim to the Facebook ad, and I saw an ad. I think it's Newfie or Knifey. I can't remember the name of it, and it's a sort of a clickety clackety keyboard, small keyboard. Hopefully, it will arrive and it will be good. But I just fancy something a bit. I've got this thing. I've got these sort of endless. I've got piles of these cheap kind of small keyboards. The reason I go for little ones because they sit in front of my laptop, which is kind of in front of me, but so that I raise the screen. I don't use the keyboard on the laptop unless I'm at home, but these just wear out.
But is it for Mac? Because I needed a small keyboard, and I always I use the little Windows keyboards, and it's really annoying because the Alt and the Command are in the wrong places. So is the one you ordered a Mac one, or like with a proper command?
No idea. You're bursting my bubble. I'll probably get it and be terribly disappointed, like many of those Facebook ads. It won't be quite or it'll be like this big. I always remember my daughter ordering this lovely lamp that she saw, and it arrived and it was like this big because it was for a doll's house. It'll probably be like that.
Speaking of Facebook ads, though, the Chompi, unfortunately, was kind of used as a...
Oh, was that,
massive...
Spammed.
It was spammed. It was coming up all the time, for, 30 quid or $30, obviously scam adverts, but unbelievable amount. So I was, I really felt for the developers having to sort of wade through,
feel that.
Going on. Yeah,
I wonder if you ordered that off Facebook, what you'd actually get. I mean, like kind of something completely random. So everything would be, oh, I'm sorry, there was a problem with your order. We'll sort it out. Just enough to sort of push you off until you kind of lose interest because it's only 60. But I imagine, I don't know. Yeah, it's a sad world, all of that stuff. But yeah, it's available, and I'm sure some of this stuff will fix. In fact, Ricky goes into, there's a few things that he says it doesn't do this, and then actually it does now. So, don't give up on it, but it may be less than you initially anticipated. I mean, and there's going to be a bunch of people who get them out there, aren't there? Because, they...
what I was going to say, though, just about, like, mentioning the sample track. The sample track is now on version 3, and it's come on so much in all of those updates that kind of people who maybe saw it when it first came out and its shortcomings, if you were to look at it now, lots of that has been addressed. Now, will we see that with the Chompi? I kind of hope so. I think they're kind of pretty invested in that little thing. So I reckon it'll gain. If it's on the Daisy platform as well, that means that it's developable.
Yeah, it should be quite accessible. Yeah, I would think so. Okay, well, let's move on to another quick topic. We'll jump. Actually, we'll do this because this wasn't really in the list, but I wanted to do it anyway because it's. Let me see if I can get to it because it just looks like I didn't get it in for some reason, and I don't know why. I feel rather foolish for that. So if I do that, what happens if I do it? I should be able to. Then I got to press this, and I think it's 6. Oh. No, it's not. It's this one. There we go.
Yay!
Yeah, it's a new product from Debrec/Stylophone. That's the new Theremin. And we've got to say congratulations to our mate Matt Hodson, who now does a bit of work for them on their marketing department. So he's obviously been extremely busy over the last few days. Again, this is it's called the Theremin Pit. It's the Stylophone pitch Theremin. Matt, I like the pitch slider. It's $100. You know, as with a lot of their stuff, it's affordable and cheap. I guess it's cheap in the. Not in the kind of crappy sense, in the UK sense of it, and it's got that sort of Volker / vibe. What I did like about it was the have I got I don't think I've got the actual. Yeah, here we go. There's the window. Kind of interesting. So it's a stylophone, but it's got a big slider on it, which is actually kind of cool, which is for quantized pitch. There's a trigger button, which I think is also a really cool idea, and sort of grungy low effects and stuff. And maybe will be something that you want to check out. I know, Gaz, you mentioned that. I can't believe I forgot this was released. It just sort of came at a weekend, and I forgot.
Yeah, I just think this is absolutely fantastic, and what a brilliant look. Brilliant looking thing as well, because it's got the mic stand mount. I think it might even come with a small desktop stand, but you can certainly put a mic stand into it. So I think for one of those things where you just want to add a little bit of kind of like wacky spacey sounds over stuff, it's really cool. So I've been looking at it, trying to figure out how it operates. So it's essentially got 2 oscillators, hasn't it? So the Theremin is one oscillator and the pitch slider is another one. So the pitch slider can either be set, or rather that oscillator
set to a drone, so you can have it as a drone, right? You
can set it to a drone and then sort of play over the top using the Theremin, which I think is a really clever idea. And it's got like a delay circuit built into it, probably what's that?
Yeah.
PT239. I'm not sure, but probably one of those grungy delays. But it's also
got quite a bit of fun, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah, but I think this is going to be a real hit for them. I really hope it is, because I can imagine this is almost like, at £90 UK, it's impulse purchase.
You think gateway? You think it's a gateway electronic music?
Yeah, it doesn't have any. It doesn't have any. You can't take a CV out from the antennas or anything.
Nah, it's literally just what it is.
So you do have a headphone out and a line out, which I think is really handy, because then you can be you can be kind of tuning the Theremin without it coming front of house with your headphone up, and then when it's right, you can bring it out.
Oh, I beg your pardon. I was just going to throw that up there so we could have the visuals going up to it. Yeah. Look, we can't pretend that. I think they had a brief foray into the sort of more pro instrument, didn't it? But it was a very short-lived thing, and a lot of people really swore by that. You got it, didn't you? I think you got the sort of metal. I can't remember the Gen X2 or X2 or whatever it was. Yeah, which was a nicely made thing. So maybe we'll see more. Because obviously if they've hired Matt to do marketing, there must be more things to market, I'm assuming. So that was a nice metal thing. I know. Have you ever tried a Theremin? Oh, there we go. There it is. Yeah, that one.
Right. Heavy.
Have you ever tried a Theremin, Yoad? Is it a sort of thing? Yes, I can't imagine after your.
It's great. I feel that for me, it's a little bit. The positioning is a little bit too abstract with the referencing and moving your head and things like that, and I prefer something like this. which
Very
is more
different price
ribbon-like,
range, but yeah.
and with with aftertouch. So with 3 axes or 2 even, you can basically get the same thing. The one thing with the Stylophone, which I hope they changed on this product, is that the Stylophone was producing a square wave, or kind of something between a triangle and a square, which is a little bit annoying. And I hope that this one produces a sine wave like it should. Because with sine wave, you can easily distort it and stuff and make it a little bit more complex. But once you get a square wave or a pulse as your source, you can't really low pass filter it, because unless you follow the pitch and things like that. So I really like the design. It looks like a really cool thing to have. And the fact that you can mount it on a mic stand, it means that it doesn't have to take desktop space. So you can just have it there. I think it's looks quite cool. With regards to CV out and things like that, you can kind of use the something like the MS-10, the Korg MS-10 or MS-20. And I'm sure that there are loads of other Eurorack modules that can track pitch and things like that. With VCA, it's much more easy to track. Obviously, if you're not using the delay, but I presume that this is a mono unit, and maybe you want to use like a stereo delay and stuff to create this spacey vibe. But yeah, looks very cool.
Good fun. Well, I mean, I hope it works out for everybody. I mean, it's nice to see them back, because they've been quiet for a while, so they've obviously been working on stuff. So, yeah, I think the first lot have sold out. No, not the first. That was the previous topic. You can pre-order now, so you just basically head over to is it this one? Yeah, you head over to Theremin, stylophone.com pre-order, and that will give you the kind of the place to order it. I'm not quite sure when they're coming into the country, but I'm guessing soonish. Okay, I should probably do another message from our sponsors. This one time it's Native Instruments. Thank you very much for them again. Put your hands on some premium keys from Native Instruments and save up to 66% on a world-class production suite with Complete 14. Pick up a brand new keyboard loaded with all the sounds you could ever need. It's a match made in production heaven. With Cyber Seasons deals, save for a limited time only at nativeinstruments.com. And I think those deals still work up until we're probably getting towards the end of it. But yeah, if you use the code Sonic10 at checkout, you can save up to 10% on software products. Thank them very much for their support. Okay, right. Shall we rewind to something else now? This is, and I think this is kind of, we generally now we're finding we get into acquisitions and mergers a little bit. SoundCloud have put themselves up for, they put themselves up for sale and valued themselves at $1 billion, which is, I guess, wouldn't it be nice? Hello, we're for sale. Maybe I should do the same and just pluck some arbitrary amount. I mean, it may well be that it's worth it. It's an interesting one, because obviously SoundCloud forms one of the kind of triumvirate of really sort of intrinsic Web 2.0 platforms for distributing and posting music. It really took over as the place to be for a very long time. We used to post our podcasts up there. We used it for a number of things. 320 million tracks from 20 million artists. It's become a little bit more of a kind of hip hop and electronica place now, but there's a very vibrant community there, and there are sort of various different programs going with major labels to kind of help bring artists on. And it's an interesting thing, but it almost feels like some of these platforms, you're kind of beginning to feel like they're too big to be changed too much, because we don't want to, like Bandcamp, we don't want them to disappear or stop being able to do the things they do, or have some poorly conceived direction they're going to go in, because it'll affect everything for us. I mean, it's interesting, isn't it, Gaz? I mean, for all the convenience for this stuff that we love, and the SoundCloud stuff, the best thing about them, they had the best embeddable player, which meant you could easily sort of put your music on your own web pages, etc., etc. Bandcamp doesn't need that so much because the pages are so easy, but it's a bit concerning. Again, it's like please don't mess it up.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, isn't it? Because we sort of want everything for free, don't we? And we don't want to pay for anything at all. And then, so these businesses which work like that, give you plenty of free, service for free. If I don't know how ultimately successful that business model is. I mean, maybe it works.
SoundCloud isn't. I don't think there's any free Strata on SoundCloud now. You have to pay for it all, and there used to be.
Right.
But then I'm pretty sure now. So all of those, I don't know if all of those people, 20 million artists all playing, I don't know, $10 a month or whatever it may be. I mean, that's got to be profitable.
God,
one would assume.
That would back up their billion claim. Then, if that, is that they've got 20 million artists, but not paying, surely. That would be incredible.
Yeah, I think those are the numbers that they post when they also tag it with the $1 billion price tag. And then obviously due diligence, if you go, I mean, I'm not likely to ring up and go, yeah, I'll take it. I'd want to know more before I drop that sort of cash, obviously. So you'd want to get past those sort of numbers. But it's an interest. I mean, we've become so reliant on these things. But yeah, the thing is, I mean, as Yoad, these services, we do get a bit of kind of subscription fatigue, don't we? You sort of want as much as you can get for the money you're paying. But there's so many of them. I mean, I guess for many, SoundCloud is useful. Do you find artists you work with are putting their stuff up there? I mean, I don't know if labels are starting to put their things on Bandcamp now. And SoundCloud is used for private demos and links like that. I seem to get links like that for
it's nice because it's one of the only ones that you can have a decent playlist that can play, because I work with Dropbox a lot, but it's a nightmare to send links to multiple files on Dropbox because you can't have them play. You have to click each one, and I don't understand why Dropbox don't do a player, like a simple player, where you can just have it there. That would be a great feature to have. But what I noticed is that the Big Brother is listening to you, because if you look at the page that you just loaded, the SoundCloud page, you'll see the Theremin, the Stylophone there. So he was actually listening to you, and can you see it on the topics? No, just at the top of the page.
Ah, well, that's because it's on Gear News. So they would probably run that story as well.
It could have shown you something else, but I think it's.
I suppose it could have done.
It's listening to you or to all of us.
Okay.
So
you're probably right. I'm terrifying.
I think that in the same way that Musk purchased Twitter, not as a business, but because it's a platform for content. So we purchased all the content there for training AI and things like that. So I think that it would make sense for someone to really mine all the data that's on SoundCloud. So even without the kind of advertised or published business model, there's a lot of stuff, if you're interested in audio, which I'm not sure, obviously it's not as powerful as text and videos like Twitter and things like that, but there's a
right. So you could buy what your
data that you can mine from this platform, if that's what you're after.
That's an interesting thought. So I mean, presumably, because I'm sure in the T's and C's they get to do whatever they want with the data and clip it and whatever, or the tune, so they could feed it all into their machine learning algorithms that would figure out a bunch of stuff that would be useful for other products. I see what you're saying. Yeah,
like trends and things, and even advertisement clicks and things like that. Once you have millions of users, then it's an immense source of data. That's and not just the audio, but everything around it.
Very true. Actually, great Neil Elkins, who you might remember from previous EMOM. Haha, good luck training AI with the crap I've put on there. How very dim. I would say your stuff is better than that, to be honest. Oh, incidentally, we are working towards an EMOM for March the 1st. I'm starting to build an artist list together from that. Sadly, I don't think we could get Steve Davis for this one. It clashed with another event that he hadn't had confirmation for, but hopefully the next one. But we will have a bunch of stuff, so I'm hoping to get confirmation for some other artists, and that's what we're aiming for. That's Friday the 1st of March. But yeah, I mean, I guess it's a big, it could be big, but the ramifications, I mean, I hadn't really thought about the thought of all of that data and AI training stuff, because as we know, we spoke with Jessica Powell from Audio Shake, and she said, it's expensive to license this music to be able to train your in their case audio separation algorithms on it, but you need to be able to get it. And I guess that's something that they can do if they buy the whole kit and caboodle, because they buy all the data presumably. So that's an interesting thought. I hadn't thought about that. Interesting thought.
I wonder what we signed away when we scrolled through all those terms and conditions.
Yeah, I don't know. The thing, it's like, cause there's the thing that says technology in existence or ever. It's like in perpetuity for the universe, isn't it? It's that sort of classic, which was the Tony DeFries clause that on Bowie's work, which was for the universe and the world of the universe in perpetuity.
Known and not yet known. That was
yes,
the thing,
that's it.
So
they're the trigger phrases. Known and not yet known. Oh, that's quite a good. I'm just gonna write that down now, actually, because that could be a title. Known and known and not yet known. That's another possible show title. I like that. Yeah, anyway, interesting. I just thought it was worth throwing up there. Of course, another friend of ours who has just released, well, it came actually just before Christmas, but it kind of fell in the bit where just after I'd stopped working. This is the new Gforce Axxess, which is based on the kind of... ARP say it was their kind of budget synth, but it still cost the equivalent of $3,000 in today's money. Mono synth, one LFO, one envelope, one filter, one oscillator. This is the new Gforce version, which adds their excellent XLFO, XADSR, so you can modulate basically all of those parameters, and it's sounding pretty good. Alex Ball did a fantastic intro video. Just want to put that out there. Gforce are really ramping up their releases at a rate of knots, and if it sounds, I haven't had a chance to try it out, but a rate of knots. Was ARP stuff... Have you got any ARP stuff in the corner there? I don't remember seeing anything in yours in your studio, but an Axe.
I have the Chroma Polaris, which is a post-ARP kind of thing based on the technology, and it sounds amazing. But that's the closest I have. But I will say about Gforce that the emulations they make are so good. I have the OBX and the OBE, and they just sound amazing. And I did some presets for the OBE.
Oh, cool!
For Dave, and I think that this is a no-brainer. It's like 33 quid, and
I mean, it is. And you get four sound packs as well with it as well. So yeah.
The matrix system is genius. It's so intuitive and it's so easy to use, and you don't have like a matrix list or anything like that. You just touch a parameter and you see all the modulators. They're available per parameter. So it's such a great way of modulating. And the sound that they manage to produce from their emulations is really amazing. So I would say, grab it while it's so cheap, because it's a no-brainer. If we're talking about an impulse buy, that's the one. Yeah, I think.
And it's, I don't know how introductory offer lasts for. I mean, their version of the ARP Odyssey is the big one that everybody recognises, but this is using some of the same technology in it. It's it's great stuff. I wish them all well with that. I know you're not particularly soft synthy, so I won't necessarily get you to say much on it, but I know they do sound good.
Yeah, and all Gforce plugins are just very good to use as, for mapping and for using as live instruments, and I'm sure this one will be too. They always put a real effort into that, and they've got a big user base, haven't they, of real kind of touring players. Something that they've always they've worked closely with. Touring.
It's got a good legacy.
Yeah. So, but I mean, you're right though. I can't even remember the last time I used a soft synth now in recent times. So I'm not really
not the target audience.
Comment right
no,
now.
Fair enough.
£33 though. I mean,
£33. I know this six voice polyphonic, and there are 4 sound packs, which are currently normally $12.49 each as well, which is a new thing from them. So they're each one has got like 40 professionally designed sound packs. So like you say, they've got a lot of people. So it's a really good idea, and I think they seem to be ramping up and running a business properly. I suppose is what you would say.
What was that Way Out Where iPad app? Wasn't that?
Oh yeah, I don't remember. No, that wasn't that the 2600.
No, on the iPad.
Oh, I don't remember.
I can't.
Jim.
Remember. Anyway,
what was his name? Jim.
It was. Yeah.
I can't remember. I can't remember.
Yeah. Okay. So that was a total waste of time. But I just always remember that having this brilliant, very basic interface, but it was really, really great touch interface that really worked. Sorry, total.
No problem. Yoad, I remember you were saying that you had to chip off about 1:45. Is that? Have you got to?
I'm good. I'm good. I just okay. I can stay.
All right, I didn't want to. All right, no problem. I didn't want to. Okay, well, we've done that one. Let's see what else we've got. There's the we'll save. There's the live and mega synthesis, which we'll say. I think we'll save to next time because I know Paulie's very keen on that, and hopefully he's going to be reviewing it. But let's have a look at this one. This is just seems like a really genius idea. Sorry about the video.
Not enough inputs for them. We invented this for that exact situation. The SS6 is a stereo DI box with 6 stereo inputs selectable on a large rotary switch. With your favourite synths hooked up to the SS6, they'll always be close at hand, so you can get back to making music.
I mean, sorry about the aspect ratio. This looked really interesting. This is the Franklin SS6 switchable input DI. It's just a genius idea, and it kind of reminded me a little bit, Yoad, of what you were saying about the AV switcher that you had.
I prefer this because we talked about this. This has.
But it's not a DI though, is it?
Yeah, but this is like £15, and it has 8 stereo inputs. And at the end of it, you just get a stereo DI for what, like £20 or something, or £40. This is $349. I mean, guys, what gives? It's like I can't get it. I just can't get it. I mean, it's elegant and stuff, but you can. You know what? There's enough space here to put 8 DIs. If you wanted to. So you can easily take it, buy a stereo DI, take it apart, put it here. You can easily have enough room here to put 2 XLRs, and you'll have this for like what, £40 altogether. I mean, I think it's extortion. Sorry.
Well, it's interesting because it's like radial products. They do some really nice DIs, and I think the thing is when you use it, when you do use a DI into a system, and it's all got. I'm assuming it's got all the nice transformer balance stuff.
I use a DI all the time. I have a custom DI designed by my good friend Igor Maximenko, which is the best DI I know, and I tested like a lot of them, and I 8-beat guitars and stuff, and this sounds amazing. And I have it at the input of 2 channels of my M16 Class A mic amp. So, and then I have the patch bay. We talked about it as well. So everything I patch into these two inputs will go through the stereo DI. So I don't even have to have it next to me. So in fact, I can use this thing and I can have it like if I have a keyboard stand, I can have one here and I can have a couple there or something like that. And their outputs can go still sort of unbalanced all the way across the room into the stereo DIs which are on the input. So I really don't get
interesting. All right, well, Nick Howes in the chat is asking whether you had a link for it. I think you found a link last time, didn't you? But
someone found the link. It's on Amazon or on YouTube. This one is called, I know that they brand it, that they sell it under different names. So that's what this one is called.
VSW. Okay. All right, got it.
And it's like 15, I paid like 20 quid, but I think prices went down. But after this kind of free advertisement, they'll probably go up. But it's, you have three, because it's an audio video thing. So it's not 8 inputs. By the way, you can actually use it as a balanced 8-way because it has a stereo, so you can use the AV input as the balance.
Right, and the ground. Yes.
You know what I mean? So it's so versatile. And like I mentioned last time, what you could do is if you use a monosynth output, like most of them are, like if
it'll cost you more in adapters than it costs to buy, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But also you can connect the output of the synth to one of the inputs, and then you can connect your CV output to the other one, and the CV out the trigger or the gate to another one. So with one controller, you can actually operate all the analog synths while receiving it's so versatile. Yeah, I'll shut up now.
Okay. No, that's fair enough. Just want to give a shout out to Jamie Geosynths. Thanks very much for the super chat. I just DI'd in your arms tonight. Very cutting, a 1980s cutting crew reference, which some of us will get, some of us probably will not. Yeah, Gaz, I don't know. Have you got? I mean, because you've got a ton of inputs on yours. Do you just go into sort of little summing mixers, or have you got like switchers that you can use for that sort of thing as well?
A few different approaches. I've got one of these Behringer RX rack unit that's 8 stereo ins. I think it's about 100 quid, and they've got mute switches, balance, and an effects send on each channel. RX 1602, I think it might be called. At first, I thought it was terrible, but it's the gain staging. You just got to make sure that you don't really go much past 0. I think there's extra gain on tap, but it's actually really good. And that gives you more inputs than this thing, and it gives you all the functionality as well. So I'm sort of with Yoad a little bit. When I first saw it, I thought, oh, that's really good, but then it also
278 quid seems quite a lot actually, but yeah.
Well, surely the thing about having multiple synths is to sort of Rick Wakeman it and play different ones and play a few phrases here. You're going to be doing that, waiting for the decay to finish, switch it over, play another one. Just seems, I think it might take a bit of the fun out of it. I mean, I can see how if you're doing sampling of instruments and you want a really good signal path. Even still, I'm not sure. I'm still not quite sure about it. Ooh.
Yeah. Well, no, fair enough. Sorry, that was just a blat from the COBOL expander.
Can I just say, I was right when I was talking about that iPad app. It was based on the Axe. They made a.
Okay, great.
It's called SynthX. So, and I loved the sound of that. So I'm gonna have a look at this Gforce. Sorry, I just wanted to say that because I was drifting off a little bit there, but I was referencing the right synth. But yeah, what else have I got? I've got quite a few things here. I use another Behringer thing, an XR 18.
18,
which is,
cracking little thing.
18.
I always wanted, what I want them to do is to just do a hardware mod or a firmware mod that allows you to use the P16 output as an AES50 output, so you can plug a stage box into it. That would be genius. And I had all these ideas. If each input just had one button that was a function button and one pot that you could say, I want, when I press this button, this knob does this, like maybe input gain or whatever, or high pass filter, or it would be so easy to make it. But there's no, they've moved on. They're now onto the wing and all the other stuff, and they do make great mixers. It has to be said, particularly their digital stuff. I'm very, we use the X32 exclusively now. It's a great little machine, I have to say, but it's old. I have to check the wing out, I suppose. Right, well, I suppose we could probably bring things to a close. We've got another show next week and then I think we might get one. It's going to be hold on, so next week will be the 17th. That'll be the last show before NAMM, because we fly out on the 24th, which would be the next show after that podcast, and then we come back. I don't know if I might be up for doing one on the Wednesday. I arrive back on Tuesday, and I'm usually pretty good, depends how knackered I feel, but please do stay in touch. I want to say thank you very much to all of our friends in the chats. Thank you also to Wagyu for his great work. Nice to see all those familiar faces with there. And thank you, Yoad, for eking a bit more time out and for evangelizing your cheap AV hardware. You should maybe you could do a deal and get a brand or put some DSP in it, so you could make maybe a sort of SoundGrid Lite.
yeah, good idea if I was that kind of entrepreneur, but I just make music.
Yep,
and
fair
plugins.
enough. Lovely to see you, though. I hope you're going to be gainfully employed. Are you alt tabbing to an Atmos mix or a production, or what's on your desk at the moment?
I'm working on a production now, which turned out, like we talked about earlier, which turned out to be to have kind of a 60s sounding guitar, just because I have the Epiphone here, which lends itself to that kind of sound. So yeah.
Right. Not that it needed it, but that's what it's got, right?
Yeah, but now I can't imagine the song without it, So it's one of those things.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, lovely to have you. Much appreciated. And also, Gaz Williams, are you streaming tonight? If I put your third up, are you back? You said you were getting back into it.
Yeah, I'm actually going to do it tomorrow, because I'm going to do there's a new Bastel module which is going to be released tomorrow, so I'm going to do a live stream. I've been fortunate to have it for a few weeks, and I think it's absolutely amazing. So I've integrated it into my main live rig, so I'll be showing that tomorrow. I'm going to be doing that a little later time as well, at 9 p.m. tomorrow evening. So if you're interested in such things, please pop along. Tonight, actually, Jim Glue has got a video premiere, so he kindly wrote to me. So it's pinned to our. So can I do that? I think it's pinned, but I can put it's pinned to the top of our chat on the YouTube if people want to see it. But there it is. I suppose that's not clickable, but it's there. Okay. Yes. I suppose that's it. I suppose it's time to say goodbye. Thank you, everybody. Thanks to all the chatties. Thanks to our guests. Thanks to our sponsors. We will see you all at the next show. Okay. Take care. See you later. Bye bye now.